I mean, that Celtics team was loaded. Okay. And it was just Doc's job to kind of like manage the personalities, what I'm saying? You had a young Kendrick Perkins, you name it. And it's just like
Yep.
you look at it now, the talent that he's had with the Clippers, the talent that he had with the Sixers. But again, like we said before, with that Sixers team, they chose the wrong guy. They chose Jimmy Butler, they chose Tobias Harris rather than Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler.
Oh,
Yeah, and if they had kept Jimmy, we might be talking about, things, much
differently.
different. Oh, absolutely. And speaking of the Sixers, in my opinion, I do believe they could be like an enigma, if you will, in the playoffs right now because you got Embiid back, and it's one of those where he scored, I think, 24 points the other night and
In the
29.
first game back.
Yeah, and I'm like, how healthy is he going to be? That's the big thing. But if you get Embiid back, even if it's like a 75% of a Joel Embiid, because
Mhm.
Tyrese Maxey has been doing his thing. Uh,
Problem. He is
yes,
a problem.
yes. So I'm like, if you can get Embiid back, I think Philly could be a problem for a lot of teams in the East.
Mhm. And you know who else I like? Who
Mhm.
was a great pickup, in my opinion, in the offseason for them? And he
Mhm.
seems to have recovered from that bike accident he was in. Kelly Oubre.
Yes. Yeah.
I like Kelly Oubre on that team and that Nick Nurse system. He's another guy. This is a
Kelly
coach. They barely give Nick Nurse any credit.
Kelly Oubre is a guy that you could not pay attention, and that dude will have a quiet 15 points very
Yes.
quietly. And Nick Nurse is another guy. Um, Unfortunately, he never got a chance to run it back because Kawhi bounced, so we don't
Yep.
know what could have been. But they had a championship squad there in Toronto, and they wanted to go young, and they let him go. And now he goes to Philly. Listen, I'm telling you, Philly could be a dangerous team. It's one of those where there's no slam dunk to me in the East because I look at Boston. Boston has all of the talent in the world. I don't believe in their head coach. Also, I think Boston is too perimeter oriented. They focus too much on the three ball.
Oh, hey,
And
so let's get right to it then. What do
yeah,
you think about the top four teams in the conferences as this postseason approaches? So, all right, so right now we're on Boston.
I don't listen. I don't. The Celtics will probably win the East, but it's one of those. I don't believe in them as far as winning the championship. To me, I think the only way they win a championship is, let's say they get to the finals. They don't have to face the Celtics. I mean the Clippers and Nuggets or the Lakers. I
Hmm.
think I think that's the only way that they are able to win it if they don't face those three teams because Boston's problem is they're too perimeter oriented. You bring in Drew Holiday, that's a phenomenal pickup.
Yep.
You bring in Kristaps Porzingis, a phenomenal pickup. But the Celtics bread is still buttered with Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. The problem is with both of these guys, they rely on the 3-point shot too much. Jason Tatum and Jalen
Like
Brown are not consistent 3-point shooters.
sidestep fadeaway three. It's like,
No.
come on, dude. Both of y'all.
No. Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum are at their best when they're playing the post and they're getting to the basket. And, it's one of those where this era of basketball, everybody has fallen in love with the 3-point shot due to the analytics. And it just it just irks me because I'll see a three, and I'm sure you're the same way. You'll see the 3-on-1 fast break developing. Everybody's stopping at the 3-point line. I'm
Point.
like, listen, get to the basket.
Get the layup, the dunk.
Listen, you've played ball before. You know when you've got that fast break and you're bringing the ball up, what do you want to do? You want to put the pressure on that one defender and get the
Exactly.
easy basket. Instead, these guys are taking the 3-point shot, missing it, and then it's like now the defender.
It's leading
I
to a long rebound and another fast break for the opposite team.
listen. When I'm sure you probably feel the same way for what I'm about to say. When I watch basketball now, it reminds me of when we played intramurals in college. We had 10 dudes on the court, okay? We were running back and forth, okay? And it was basically whoever got the ball, they were gunning from wherever they were. Okay, that's what I'm seeing right now. These guys, the fundamentals have gone. I know like guys want to say, well, the game today, the players are better. No, they're more athletic.
Hmm.
They're not more skilled. It's a difference. Okay. So this is why I think, people need to be very careful when they start to compare players from one era to another era. Because I mean, how many times do we see a game right now and guys walk and they don't call anything?
Very true.
You
Yes,
know,
all the time.
you got guys, they don't know how to play, how to defend the pick and roll. There's zero communication defensively. You're giving the offensive guy too much space. They don't know how to pick up defense in the backcourt. They don't know how to pick up, half at half court. It's a lot of it's so much flaws into the game. And like getting back to the Celtics, you see it with them because they rely on the 3-point shot too much. And I think at the end of the day, that is going to be their downfall. If the Celtics get to the finals and play the Nuggets, they will lose. Number one, you don't have anybody to stop Jokic. Number two, every single time that Jason Tatum plays KCP, he is non-existent. Jason Tatum has to work like he never worked before just to get 20 points when he faces KCP. So those
So
two,
that, right? Just like what you said previously. Now, what would happen if you put 6'8", 6'9" Jason Tatum in the post? And now KCP had to deal with him. It's like, doesn't that make much more sense than you have Jason Tatum trying to take KCP off the dribble to get to his pull up sidestep three? KCP is going to be all over that. Just
exactly.
like stated, they're 2 3 point perimeter happy instead of putting those boys in the post, right? Where they can even turn face up and then put pressure on the rim.
Yeah,
And
oh
then
yeah.
get Jokic in foul trouble. You know what I'm saying? Force them to have to bring DeAndre Jordan in.
Yeah,
But no, they're going to take bad 3 pointers. That's what they're going to do.
yeah, listen, I mean, they got a shot to win the East. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk, but they have a shot depending on who they don't have to face because if they have to face a Miami in round one, or they got to face a Philly in round number one, that could be a huge problem. That's why, I'm looking at the top four teams in the East right now, and I'm not sold. And especially, so much stuff is interchangeable because you've got Cleveland there at number three, but then
Mm-hmm.
both the Magic and the Knicks are a half game behind both of them.
Yeah,
And
they're both
then
45 and 32. Yep.
right. And you look at the Magic, nobody's really talking about them. They've flown under the radar. The Knicks, I know in New York, the folks there, they're probably going crazy because, Knick fans, they're kind of like a different breed. They're kind of like
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Cowboys fans. When their team gets good, you can't tell them anything.
No, we're winning the championship.